we basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
You like to see it every once in a while, and every once in a while it's necessary. You have a press in this country, the mainstream media, and they seem obsessed with trying to undermine our nation pretty much all of the time. And they're always trying to throw shade on the efforts of this administration, who's working really hard to try to stabilize certain regions in this world. You're all aware of the strikes on Iran's blossoming nuclear capabilities, or their nuclear aspirations, right? The United States went in and single-handedly destroyed those efforts. And it's a good thing. But in the process of all of this, it's also revealed quite a bit about the two belligerents in that region, Iran and Israel, constantly bickering and fighting amongst themselves. And you have our interests trying to maintain some cohesion and trying to maintain some calm as a result. So what happened when we went in and destroyed those targets? Well, Iran came to the table. They wanted to negotiate. Amazing, right? Yeah, okay. So then, of course, they did the typical retaliatory strike. It was more of a gesture than anything. I think one missile happened to kind of go into some Israeli airspace. And so what did Israel do? They responded by trying to drop a bunch of bombs, and that was what the president was trying to address. That you've got these two countries that really don't know what the fuck they're doing, honestly, because it's been going on for so long. All they know is that they don't get along. And he's basically taken on the role and the responsibility as the adult in the room. I don't know if you've watched the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. This guy's great. He was calling out the press on the same type of thing. They're trying to play the gotcha games. They're trying to undermine the efforts of the United States and minimize the positions and efforts that they've taken in order to do these missions. To make it appear, or to give the impression in the public's eye, that the Department of Defense is incompetent, which, in fact, they are not. The Department of Defense is quite capable. Now, you'd never know that if you watch the news, watch the mainstream media. So it's like dealing with children, really. And so that was Donald Trump's frustration. Is he's the guy works tirelessly. Let's be honest. The guy, he just lives on caffeine and motivation. He's not a drinker. He's not a smoker. He doesn't abide in vices other than probably his caffeine habit. But he's very focused. He's really sharp. And he surrounds himself with really good people that know what the fuck they're doing. Yes, of course he does. And whether you agree with it or not, I have my disagreements with Donald Trump on some things, but I'm not going to abandon him just because he didn't do exactly one specific thing that I wanted him to do here or there, right? You get the whole package, you get the whole deal, good or bad. But predominantly speaking, or generally speaking, as we're kind of learning and watching him again for his second term, he's doing a great job. He's keeping his promises. And he's not playing the wishy-washy politics game. Although many in Congress still are. I mean, you're going to see these political opportunists, the Lindsey Grahams of the world. They're always going to surface and try to position themselves because they are just who they are. They're politicians, right? I would say that Donald Trump's probably the least political president our country's had. Maybe Teddy Roosevelt, possibly. Although, it was way before any of us were born. Or Lincoln, possibly. We can do that in another video, but I'll plant these seeds with you, so maybe we can discuss these things. What do you guys think? I mean, you guys know I've had my disagreements with this individual. We can always look at COVID and say, well, look what he did during COVID. Well, he worked with the information that he had at that time, and he learned a lot from that. I think he learned a very valuable lesson. He learned that you can't really trust anybody in politics. Even the people that you bring on board that you think are going to be good, there's always going to be competing agendas and hidden agendas all within the tapestry of what you're trying to do. This applies to the real world. This applies to life. This applies to everybody's life. It's not unique to government. It's not unique to this presidency. So maybe a little thing to tuck away there and kind of let it marinate a bit. But what do you guys think? Of course, the news, they want to show that clip of him swearing and say, "Oh my God, he lost his cool. He's just, not fit to be commander-in-chief." They want to get in there and try to pick this thing apart. But I thought it was great. I thought it was like a parent that was finally getting to their end of their patience with a lot of the bullshit that is going on in this world. And there's plenty of it. It's everywhere. It's just life. Problem with the Democrats, the left, liberals, leftists, they tend to want to live in a fantasy world anyways. They want everything to be just nice and cozy and comfy, but that's just not the reality of life. What's another seed I can plant with you guys? I'm not going to do a real long-winded one today, but I wanted to address this one because I thought it was great. I saw it and I was like, oh, all right. You know exactly where you stand with the guy. I heard this one. This is rumor, scuttlebutt. Maybe somebody's got some more information on this, but I believe in California, is there a vice governor? Or here we call it a lieutenant governor in our state. I don't know what they call it in California, a vice governor, lieutenant governor, is calling, okay, get this. So ICE has been in conducting raids of illegal aliens and rounding them up and sending them back to their country of origin, right? Deporting them, yes? It's the job of ICE. And in doing so, it's made some people very unhappy, predominantly Democrats, because they're losing a lot of their voters that they've imported. Yes, yes. So the lieutenant governor, vice governor of California, and again, this is all just, I'm getting this secondhand off of some news feeds, is recommending or asking the gangs in California, predominantly probably LA gangs, to combat ICE if they come in into their regions or into the areas where they conduct their gang behavior. Wouldn't that be something to watch? Boy, wouldn't that be something else? I mean, what a dumb thing for a lieutenant governor to say, if it's in fact true. Does anybody know about this? Is there any more information you can share? Because this would be a fun one to kind of follow for a bit, if in fact this is something that he's proposed. So we'll keep our eye on that. What else can I tell you? That's about it. Yeah, not much today. It's kind of overcast, really nice, though it's warm. Of course, I'm on the bike, as always. I like to come up to this spot. This is a good shooting location. Not in the literal sense, I mean like for video, right? And ride around a little bit. So we'll talk more about, I'll do another bike video here pretty soon, but I wanted to get this one out because I thought it was really good. And I think it really just underscores that I think as a nation, we're starting to finally get some maturity about us. And we have a president who's really not going to tolerate a lot of bullshit and a lot of undermining and a lot of mischaracterization of what they're trying to do. Okay, so that's it. We'll talk more. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon. All right, have yourselves a good day.